I had a lot of fun attempting to speedrun Dark Souls 3 while the enemies and items were randomized. Enough to do it again, but this time on Dark Souls Remastered. The way the map is laid out in the OG Dark Souls makes for way more chaos at times, and certain enemy varieties that just simply obliterate you 10 times faster than anything else, even with regular scaling enabled in the randomizer settings. I genuinely took a handful of attempts before getting anything promising to the late game and still being relatively fast. But this run in particular had something special about it that I enjoyed quite a bit. I won't spoil that particularly until you see the whole thing, but let's see how fast I can get through Dark Souls 1 with the enemies and items shuffled. Before we get into this video, make sure that you are subscribed and notified for future videos, and especially since most of you guys watching aren't subscribed, never miss anything that I upload again. What do you know? Rando Speedy has returned as just Rando Speed this time. And we're gonna be the female character because I just pick the male character more often. Sanctuary Guardian Tale. Knight has the blacksmith hammer from Andre. Wanderer, we got a dagger. Thief with the whip. Bandit with the axe from the pyromancer. Another blacksmith hammer. Reinforced club, regular club, battle axe, and morning star. So not the greatest seed for weapons right away. I would say the blacksmith hammer is not a bad starting class on Knight, and considering Knight does have some heavier stats, it also has that cool trench coat from Bloodborne, sponsored by Marvelous Chester. I think I'm going to go with that. I think that makes the most sense. We do have 14 starting vitality, which is great. That's a huge amount of health right away, and if I boost that a little bit more, then I can actually focus on endurance without being so behind on stats. I think we're going to go with that. Upgrade path is also Twinkling Titanite, I believe. Master Key is the gift. Average commoner shaved with no hair. Let's do it. So this run, as I've mentioned before, it's going to be as speedy as we can make it. The goal, I don't really have a goal in mind particularly because Randomizer on Dark Souls 1 can be very scary. The settings that I have are all the base settings that you have when you turn Randomizer on. The only thing I've changed is key items are not shuffled. That is it. So if you were to start up an item randomizer yourself, enemy randomizer, everything with the logic is exactly the same. I did change a little bit of things with enemies in the case of there's not a crazy amount of vagrants particularly, and ghosts are tangible, so obviously you can actually hit them instead of them being invisible, but for all intents and purposes of shuffling and everything, it's all basic. All right, let's see what we got here for numero uno. Before we dive head in to the action of this randomizer, I'd like to give a big thank you to future entertainment company DDoD's developers for sponsoring this video. It's a top-down co-op action RPG shooter set in the mysterious Purple Lands, a post-apocalyptic region consumed by a strange substance known as the Fog. You can expect to be exploring the world solo or with up to 4 players. You can complete quests, gather resources, craft equipment, and fight both mutated creatures and hostile human enemies. The current demo offers approximately 1 to 2 hours of gameplay and includes a portion of the open world, dungeons, quests, crafting systems, exploration, and a wide variety of enemies. Players can use melee weapons, firearms, explosives, and navigate forests, swamps, abandoned villages, industrial ruins, and underground locations. The game features dynamic weather, a day and night cycle, atmospheric exploration, and a fully supported co-op gameplay with shared loot and player revives. Alongside the demo, DDoD is running a special Steam Next Fest community contest. Players can participate in 3 individual challenges: most mutants killed, fastest run to the bunker, and least damage taken. To enter, players simply need to complete a run, take a screenshot of their final results screen, and submit it in the official DDoD Discord contest channel. For each category, first place wins a collectible DDoD monster figurine with a game key, while second and third place receive game keys. Submitting a screenshot also automatically enters players into a community raffle. The raffle includes game keys and limited glow-in-the-dark collectible DDoD monster figurines featuring creatures from in the game. Make sure to use the link in the description or pinned comment to try the DDoD demo during Steam Next Fest and join the community. I believe the guy that made the enemy randomizer hid the boss underneath the asylum so you can't see it right away. There was a change that we made. Iron Golem. Or better put as the Asylum Golem. Cool. So he shouldn't be too hard. I'm assuming that hammer won't be bad either, but he does have a lot of defense by default, meaning no matter where he's placed in the entire run, since we do have the regular scaling of the game, he's going to be pretty beefy in regard to whatever health pool he's replacing. So if it's going to be a low health pool, still high defense. If he's replacing something that's very late, that's crazy. He's going to have a ton of chip damage he's going to have to take to die. So right away, we're going to just head to Oscar as usual. And that crystal guy got destroyed by the boulder. Just decided to finish him off over there. How's it going, Oscar? How does it go? Thank you for the OJ, once again. Got a rat right at the door. That's never great. Their hitboxes, as you can see, are pretty wide, so trying to run around rats in narrow hallways doesn't work the way you think it's going to. A lot of the time, you end up getting stuck. They poison you very quickly. Usually, you don't have high poison resistance. And already you can see Hollow Soldier, 2 different varieties. The slug jumping across the staircase, almost taking me out in the combo with the guy, back of the head, almost magic pixel of health, and an arrow coming through the air. So much shit going on right away. Crazy. But we made it. We got a purple moss clump as a trophy for persevering there. I thought I actually was going to die right away. And considering, again, we're trying to be very fast, not a great start, very crowded. So I'm going to chug up. I thought Asylum Golem might be right underneath me. I don't know why I didn't notice. He's on the complete other side of the arena here. He likes to do that for whatever reason. But when we entered, though, he was right underneath. So interesting that he switched sides in the process of us going through the upper part of the Asylum. And even though we could topple him over here, it doesn't really matter. We're just doing straight chunk damage. Very simple. With no scaling, this would take forever, but I'd say it's a very safe boss to have on no scaling. So nothing that we would have seen in the upper level that would have been too much of an issue anyways. There wouldn't be a crazy difference until we get to this part, particularly right here. Obviously, that part where I took the damage from all the basic enemies, it would have killed me. So them dealing damage would have been bad, but me killing the things, not too much of a difference. And there goes down Golem. So there is something I debated quite a bit when I was doing this. Talked about it in the Dark Souls 3 randomizer speedrun that we did recently. The crow does take random trades. So if we drop an item to the crow's nest that's on our right side running up this hill. Oh, we got a Twinkling Titanite too. Amazing. That's really good. Yeah, that crow's nest off to the right side will take drops, and they'll give us stuff that's not the actual preset menu from the base game, as what I've discovered when playing Item Randomizer before. So we could just take our luck at just gambling some items we have that are spare, or trying to even drop the equipment we start with to get better stuff. No guarantee, though. Right away, we pick up the server in place of the humanity. It's not the greatest weapon in my experience, but it looks really weird, though, so cool. Soul of Proud Knight in place of fire bombs. And I'm doing the regular loot and scoot in Firelink just to get us going here. We're not going to have Homeward Bones available right away, but Petrus's inventory is of interest, and he does give you an item to start off as well. So we got a Soul of Proud Knight from him, and since we're not a cleric, by default, we're not in his covenant, we're going to have to join it. So purchasing item, we got a Humanity for 1,000, perfect deal. Soul of Hero for 1,000, amazing, and Soul of Proud Knight for 500 is a great deal. But the craziest thing of all, dude, Titanite catch pole for 2,000? Oh my god, man. That's honestly, I love Titanite catch pole. It's one of my favorite weapons in any of the games, period. Any game in general, for that matter. It would probably be close to the top 10. I can't say it's quite in the top 10, but it's very close. Maybe top 15. Such a good halberd type weapon. It has magic split damage. It does actually upgrade outside of regular Titanite. I believe it uses Twinkling Titanite, so that's already fitting the fact we picked up a Twinkling Titanite. Very happy to see that right away. That's going to replace the Blacksmith Hammer ASAP. And the cool thing, too, is that the stat requirements are pretty low for it. So Chainmail, Eastern Armor from Shiva, and then we got the Soul of a Hero again. A lot of very, very high-value souls immediately, either free or purchased for almost nothing. And the Gold Hem Black Skirt. Wow, okay. To be honest, I did reset a little bit before getting this particular run. I had one that was about a third way through the game, and then I had some that were in the beginning that died very fast, with some legendary starts that were completely deathless for a while. And you're going to be surprised when you see how far this run goes without me dying. It truly almost was a deathless run in its completion, and I do think that as we do these speedruns more often, I will get a deathless randomizer speedrun, and it's going to be crazy. because I remember doing Deathless on this randomizer already with just the key item shuffled as a difference. It was scary. It was very hard. So yeah, we're gonna pop some of those souls on the way down in speedrun fashion because the lift's already taken us some time anyways. And humanity's another point of interest on this because the shortcut for Quelaag is faster than actually killing the bosses, replacing what would be Fire Sage or Centipede. Using those humanities in the quantity of 30 to give to the Old Witch and just skip everything is nice, but we can't guarantee that we get them because merchants don't just have the same inventory and all the placements are different, obviously. So we're gonna have to come across humanity in random succession, get lucky, and get that 30 to skip everything. Maybe not even. Divine Blessing on Rickard of Vinheim, amazing. And Artorias' Soul as well. Wow. He usually does have some cool items in the start. It's like hit or miss to a degree, but most of the time I do it, it's pretty good. And then we don't really need the ring and we don't need the Shodel, so that's fine. We can just pretty much stay with the Titanite catch pull as the plan for now. In the distance, what would be replacing the Petrified Dragon looks like it's the Lightning Gargoyle. Much better than the Hydra. Hydra could kill you right away. It's very big, and picking up the items as it's slamming its head into the ground is not as easy as mangling the Gargoyle early or just like trying to escape it. So we got Lord Blade's Waistcloth, Chameleon, another soul, and Blue Tearstone Ring is incredible as well. So when you have no ring slots in general and you have low health, the boost of defense and that low percentage will actually save your life from a lot of one-shots, particularly in Randomizer. Just because, again, the values of enemy damage and stuff is going to be slightly different even with the scaling included. Oh man, Stompy Feet. So we're not going for the item in the cave because Stompy Feet might trap me inside or knock me off the cliff. It's actually kind of lucky we didn't get flattened there anyways because their moveset's weird. They have huge hitboxes on their feet. And anytime you see them in a constricted area, it could just be randomizer over. Like, you pretty much want to kill them. You don't want to go around them fast. And you'll see a lot of scenarios that don't lend themselves to being fast on a randomizer in this particular game, even more so than Dark Souls 3. So popping some souls again in the lift there. We already got up to over 50,000 early. That is a pretty high quantity. It's going to get us a ton of levels, but even if we didn't use all of them, Andre still has the key item Crest of Artorias, so I could check Sif earlier than going to Anor Londo if I chose to, or if I wanted to do anything in the forest and loot the items there, it's accessible. I am keeping the looting to a bare minimum, where basically if we run by the item and we see it, we grab it, but if it's out of reach, it really has to be something that's not too far off the beaten path. So with that being said, I saved 21,000 and change, and we could buy Crest of Artorias if I wanted to, but also if Andre's inventory is stacked, now we have a pretty good bonus to go buy stuff from him. And what do you know? Grasscrest Shield replaced by Chloranthy Ring. I would say that's not as good as Grasscrest Shield, but it's the same effect. So the fact that we still get stamina boosting this early is amazing. Got Helm of Favor, and then a Titanite we can't even use from the Hollow that replaced the Black Knight. That's fine. I didn't like Donald anyway, so I think the Hollow's more fitting. Let's go see what is on the ledge where the bow usually is. And it should be a couple items at least. Oh, we got Holy Trousers. Okay, it was only one item. Interesting, because you get the arrows with the bow, but I guess it just gets replaced as one because it's literally just one item itself. Like, there's not two items beside each other visually. Got a Ghost right here for the Crystal Lizard. And auto drop Titanite Chunk and green Titanite Shard. The chunks are okay. There's a very low chance we're going to have the Embers set up to be able to get a regular weapon to +10 anyway, so chunks are just not really mattering that much unless we get Framped to chew on them and turn them into large Titanite, just barely squeezing the higher end of a +10 weapon if we do even find the Ember, and if we don't find the Ember at all, it's useless. So we already got a dog from the DLC as well, that sucks. Oh boy. The chase begins. And it's always fun when Big Red Clifford Dragon is inside the area with the Titanite Demon. I'd definitely rather him. I went for the tail cut right away. I don't think that's a smart idea, but because we put the stats in so we could get the Titanite catch pull active, now we're just set for a weapon that actually does some damage early game. I'm hoping I can find more Twinkling Titanite or maybe even buy Twinkling Titanite later, but again, no guarantee. Lots of humanities on Andre, all under 1,000. some extra souls, black fire bombs, some basic materials. I don't think I'm going to go for any of the Titanite other than the basic Titanite, so we're going to get 9 of those, so we could fully increase a regular weapon to +5 if I feel like it. Replenishment's fairly cheap, so in case I find a talisman, maybe I could level Faith a little bit and heal myself if I really needed to in a stupid situation. We got that Titanite catch pull to 1 with the Twinkling Titanite I already had as well, and goodbye, Andre, for now. So, one of the things to manage while doing this also is the fact that as you can see me going through the menus, I'm not running very fast. I'm not going to the bonfire, snapping from location to location like I would on a regular playthrough that has all the normal layouts, because menuing is slow. My thought process is going to make me lag behind quite a bit, deciding what I actually want to do, trying to remember everything we actually have right now. And that's the beauty of optimizing a run like this, since it's never going to be the same seed I play again anyways. And the on-the-fly quick thinking has to improve no matter what, or I'm literally not going to be able to get a better time, even if the seed is almost proportionate. So now what I'm doing is I'm searching for a weight load with the actual halberd, or Titanite catch pull, where I can medium roll, because the church is safe to medium roll in. It's not like the pacing needs to be so crazy, and the damage that this catch pull's doing is good enough to clear out that upper room if I play it kind of slower. Like, I don't have to actually run through everything. We got the stone armor where the Firekeeper soul usually would be. That's a big W. And already a Vagrant in the staircase. Get out of here. Those things do crazy damage. The evil Vagrants especially. These are the good Vagrants. Sorry, the good Vagrants. Oh my god. Crawly Skeleton Man from Catacombs. Ulysseal Caster. A Vagrant underneath the skeleton guy. Lizard from the hidden area where the wolf ring is. Another bloated head guy. 2, is that a spear hollow? How many people are in here, dude? Yeah, this is scary. This is where you really have problems, but again, because we have a weapon that can kill them early and we don't have no scaling enabled, there is scaling. Thank God. That would have been really hard. It might have actually even been to the level where most of those enemies would have taken like 4 times the amount of hits. So, cleared out that hallway. You know, it was a little bit slower than normal, just usually casually cruising through is just a straight shot to the door with the hollows maybe blocking you. But not a big difference. 13 minutes at Gargoyles, not bad. Put the hood back on because we can still afford the medium roll with that weight. And we got the Bell Asylum Demon. That's a very good boss to have for the roof. They did change in this enemy randomizer the whole idea of both gargoyles being shuffled into 2 different enemies to avoid some really, really tricky situations. But if you want to see both enemies being shuffled, I recommend I did a run that was Soul Level 1 randomizer. And I think I had Manus and another boss that was pretty hard too. I can't remember what the second one was, but both of those at the same time was nuts. Bell Asylum Demon goes down super fast. So we already are on our way to ringing the first bell, which is great. Not bad for under 15 minutes. And the goal is really just to go to Blighttown and get Quelaag next, as per usual. I could do it in the reverse order, of course. One of the reasons I'm not interested in going through Blighttown isn't because of what replaces Quelaag, since the catch pull would be upgraded the exact same amount. The stats wouldn't change too much here. It would actually mainly be the enemies on the pathway to get there could be a little sketchy, and I might get better items or have a chance at least to get something from Oswald before I actually head over there. So if he has anything of interest, any rings, any equipment that I could use, I want to go and check his inventory first before going through Blighttown. One thing that you might remember, it would be slower to run all the way backwards through the church because I don't have Homeward Bones, and if I use a Dark Sign, I'm losing 12,000 souls right here, almost 13. But look, he does have some souls in his inventory, so this is going to convert back the souls I would use, even if I did use a Dark Sign. And he's got Havel's Ring. Havel's Ring makes it all worth it. 100 souls for Havel's Ring is crazy. And now I'm on the roof, I'm debating, do I run back in? Do I kill the enemies? Nope, we just Dark Sign because we ball. We go super fast, and I'll trade that 12,000 and make back maybe 40% of it with those poppables, maybe 50%, I don't know. Put on Havel's Ring immediately, and now we can upgrade our defense level so we can survive going through Blighttown a little bit easier. You never really know, again, how that's going to work out, but that was a smart idea to just go for gargoyles right away. And I will say, in the other attempts I had of this, I had some absolute BS bosses for Quelaag. There was one in particular where I got Calamite, and it took me probably 20 minutes just to get him almost to like low, but maybe like, we'll say like 15% health. It was pretty low health, and then he still killed me anyways. I ran out of heals. I was doing 80 damage per hit at best. Some of the hits were not as good. That was a counter hit, I think, at 80 damage. Had a very bad weapon. Can't remember what it was, but that was on the second attempt of doing this. And I think this is about the 5th attempt trying to get a run going. Whereas when we did this on Dark Souls 3, I didn't actually reset at all. I just turned it on and did the first run and it worked. It was perfect. So we got Sunlight Shield. Not bad. That's 100% physical reduction if I remember correctly. So now we have a shield that can block things and not let damage through as easily. I was debating going and sitting at the bonfire there. I probably should have. And what do you know? We got Lautrec chilling. Let's go and knock him off the ledge, see what his ring gets replaced with. And I am going to allow quit-outs for things like that, so you'll see them in those situations, most definitely. But I'm not just going to be spamming quit-outs all the time or for doors or anything like that. That's not necessary. Got the Leo ring and Golem leggings. Leo ring is sick if we're using a thrusting weapon. That's actually pretty damn good. I don't think it's going to make the catch pole do anything particularly, and I even do test it a little bit later on. But, yeah, catch pole is just going to be fine as is. Popping more souls every single time we get to a lift. Let's do that. And get our health back. It would have been smart to just sit at Firelink and get my Estus back to 10 at least without having to waste any sips. Because Firekeeper souls are going to be so rare as well, it's going to be almost impossible to upgrade our Estus enough where it fills up the whole health bar. It's just not going to happen. We're going way too fast. We're skipping way too many items. They're usually out of the way too. So no chance that the sips are going to get that strong. Estus in high quantities is not what it seems, basically. It's not as useful because we're going to have to boost a lot of vitality in this to be able to survive. So we got a Mushroom Man. Goes for the little belly slide. Crossbow Hollow, that's a little bit better than the Giants. Eggman. Egbert's cousin from the lower area, of course. And I don't see anything that's blocking the pathways. It's too big. Sometimes you can get Dino Feet over here, and they're the worst, I would say, for this particular scaffolding. Ooh, Pineapple Man from Chaos area, from Izalith. So he's a little scary. He can pick you up and put you inside his head and blend you. We don't want to get grabbed by him at all, so scoot out of there. We got a Ghost just floating around, not too bad. Ghosts are bad when you stop moving, but when you are moving normal speed, they don't actually travel that quickly. They just go through objects. So you're going to track them through a floor, and they're going to stretch arm you, you know, through any kind of surface while you're just chilling and scare the shit out of you. But if you're running by them and they're already in a default position, you can see there's no problem at all. It's pretty simple. So where the large shard would usually be over here, let's check and see what we got. And a Clam's approaching. Pain and Guardian Gloves are not bad. They're pretty light. So it's a good defense option to stack with some other heavier pieces if we don't make the equip load for medium, or if we even want to go light. You could combine that for a light setup pretty easily. Got the Cobra shooting lightning at me while the Clam is very close in tow right here. And a Vagrant that almost got me with the magic too. That's crazy. I don't even think I remembered that actually. I did this a couple days ago from when I'm actually just watching it back right now, but literally I don't think I remembered that when I was playing at all. It's so freaky. The magic from the Vagrants, when it does a counter hit, if it is an evil one, can do so much, even with the no scaling. Or regular scaling, I should say, sorry. My god. Thank god the Basilisk over here also is not active, because Curse is a real thing. That would slow me down quite a bit. In my head, I'm trying to not die for as long as I can, so keep in mind everything you're going to see for the next, like, hour and change is me trying my best to go deathless. And even when I die, you're going to notice there's something particular about this run that is special that I can claim that makes it better than a regular run with deaths. And we'll go over that at the end. All right, so we got Moonlight Butterfly immediately right here. I'm just kind of playing it as normal, thinking, hey, I can't reach it. But then I realized the Moonlight Butterfly has parts of its body you would normally never be able to hit while it's on the bridge, but they do actually have hitboxes, and you can, in fact, hit it while it's floating in the air. So I realized this a little later, but I'm just kind of like lingering around here waiting for it to land, thinking, oh yeah, the Estus might not be enough to survive. It's still chunking me down, and I might have to hit with Humanities. Then I go for the overhead attack, and I'm like, wait, I could just go behind it. And again, I was assuming that the beams would still hit behind, but the tracking doesn't go far enough. It's actually good enough to completely evade the missiles and the beams. So once I get into the right position right around here, they all miss me. It's just a matter of now hitting the flappy wings. Only unfortunate part about Moonlight Butterfly being in place of Quelaag is the fact that our weapon does split magic damage, so it's not going to be as effective against a boss that would have been a little bit more weak to damage from magic. It's all good, though. It still is doing a decent amount, way better than normal. And to argue the fact that it's like a longer weapon is an advantage is definitely smart, too, because you can hit the Moonlight Butterfly overhead. But if there's horizontal attacks and thrusty attacks, it would be very tricky to even land a single hit right here while it was in the air. You'd have to hit the bigger part of the wing and not the tail as much. Nice and easy. So again, we could say that I probably lost 30 seconds on that just trying to remember that you literally could go behind it, but we could also even argue there's another possibly 20 seconds from me being inaccurate and missing all those attacks like a scrub. At least we got it. That's a way faster boss than we could have had in that arena. Like I said, Calamite showed up on the second attempt when I shuffled the seeds before, and finally I got one that was a little bit better, thank God. Doesn't mean there's not going to be DLC bosses and there's not going to be incredibly long fights on this that are hard. There is definitely some ridiculous stuff that shows up, but this is a great start. I immediately was like, let's go for Ceaseless Discharge. No, we're not going to be able to kill the boss that's in place of it like we normally would kill Ceaseless. We actually have to fight it. We also don't want to touchdown at a bonfire in general, so we can Mega Warp all the way back to Firelink. Actually, even all the way back to Andre. So now that I think about hitting Firelink, when I was talking about that on the way to New Londo, I kind of made a big brain play by not touching down, since we're going to go all the way back to the gate where Parrish was, and I think that's what my thought process was. I hesitated because I'm like, if we just go crazy and we go in a circuit from Quelaag all the way through, kill Ceaseless, we Mega Warp back, we waste no footprint going all the way up that lift again through the church, and we can just go right to Golem. So this is really cool if it works, but it depends on what boss we have. So let's see. Let's pop a Humanity to get full health back and then save those flasks for on-the-fly heals. What do we got? Oh, okay, we got Smo. And it looks like Smo phase 2. Not the worst. He is not super accurate without Ornstein helping him pinpoint all the attacks. He's a little bit goofy. The worst thing that he could do on this map, too, is probably launch you off the edge of the cliff if he was attacking with the long plow attack facing the cliff edge, because it does juggle you. But yeah, other than that, if I'm aware of where I am, I don't think there's a problem on this at all. And I think he does pretty decent with magic, considering on my sorcery run, could hit pretty big numbers on him. So yeah, even though his health pool's pretty big, still doing good, just avoiding that lightning slam, going as aggressive as I can, trying to get staggers as well. But the thing with the catch pole is it's not going to stagger as quickly as a super crazy heavy weapon like an ultra great sword or a great hammer of any sort. It's going to take a little bit longer. Trying to stack in as many running attacks, then follow up with another one. Pivot around him when he does the regular attacks that he does once he stops slamming as well. And then he'll have to kind of like turn towards you too. Anytime he dashes away, get a nice juicy counter hit. And right here I'm going behind him. I got the first stagger, went for a big R2, just for the style. Leaving a little bit of stamina to roll through. And it's cool because the range on that lightning butt slam's deceptive. You actually can be physically touching it or visually touching it. It doesn't actually calculate damage till you get maybe about 20% into the radius. So even though it looks like it's actually hitting me, it doesn't do anything until you get a little bit closer into the inner circle. It's much scarier with the sound effect of that attack too. So you're going to notice in a lot of these fights, even though there's some music playing, there's no sound effects from certain things that are happening just because randomizers are weird that way. Not sure if anybody has a sound effect fix that they could link me to so I can install that, or if it doesn't exist, whatever the case. But yeah, comment on that if you know anything about exactly why that happens or if there's a way to fix it, because I've always been used to just sound effects being weird. So we got 20,000 for that, warped right back to Andre Bonfire, going crazy with Vitality. We got 30, stacking 17 Endurance to get a little bit more equip load as we're going, and a bit more ability to keep spamming attacks. People were commenting on the DS3 randomizer speedrun that I did, saying I should have leveled more Endurance. I do agree. I think once you're really good at stuff like that and you don't die that much, you truly should just level Endurance more than health, because you're just going to play good, so you can attack more and you can run longer without stopping, and mathematically you will finish the game quicker. Now I'm in a corner with a bad vagrant and the club guy that did not show up in the cave on the way to Blighttown. That's not great. I just skipped out on that item altogether, and who knows what it could have been. We can't have the fear of missing out on that. No FOMO this time. I'm just going to go right through the pendulums. Got the big falchion skeleton from Catacombs. Okay, he did a really weird swing there where it looks like it goes over my head, but I think I'm actually inside the range before the hitbox starts in front of him. So it's like the handle doesn't do any damage on that. That's something I haven't seen before, actually. That's a completely new thing. It might explain why it's really easy to pivot around them when they do that attack in the dark in Tomb of Giants, but that is something that's completely new that I've never seen before. So very interesting. Looting the chest very quick. I was debating going for Steel Protection Ring chest, but I don't think it's worth it with this boulder coming down and having to wait extra cycles. Could be a good item. Just, again, I'm really feeling the setup being complete already with the items I do have. I'm like, if I just find some more Twinkling Titanite, I could see us going the distance with this weapon. Little did I know, there are going to be some fights where it doesn't do a lot of damage, and I'm going to be working really hard to finish them. The attack speed's not amazing, and there very well is room for other weapons on this run if I wish to have that as the case, just depending on if I find them. We're just going to have to see what happens. So Sunlight Straight Sword and Demon Machete drop from the Mimic chest. Speaking of weapons, Demon Machete is one of the best weapons in the entire game, but unfortunately it does use regular Titanite, and even if I got it to +5, getting it to +10 would require that large Ember. And that's all you would need. You wouldn't need +15 for the whole game. You'd only really need to get that one Ember and transition it into large Titanite, which we're probably going to come across a lot of, or we could take those chunks and immediately get them chomped down by Framped into large shards. So it's a shame that there's no guarantee that Ember is going to pop up. Actually, what am I even saying? Wait a second. I've said this the whole time. Let me course correct right here before I get flamed incredibly. The Embers should technically be key items, so I could go to Londo and go scavenge once I go through there to go and grab it. Or, sorry, the depths. I could go Capra and go to the depths. My bad. I'm silly. I could technically go do that. Every time I've said that before, you're going to hear me say this now, but I'm going to edit out some of the other things I said with that. You might hear a few. You can technically go and get the Embers in the default locations. Now, getting through Capra would be hard. And the alley and all the things included, so it might waste some time doing that. I think Catch Pole's still a little bit better. And this pendulum situation is a really good cause for quit outs. I somehow got lucky right there on that throwing knife. The second one would have killed me. If the first one connected, I just spaced it blindly off the screen without even hearing the sound effect. That was complete luck. That whole situation truly should have killed me, but I don't know. Miyazaki was looking over me. He was like, the quit outs aren't going to take you out today, boy. He wanted me to live, so Sense Fortress almost ate me alive right there. Xanthus Overcoat, amazing. That's one of my favorite pieces of armor. Got the Cleric Helm, Small Soul as well. And we're going to go to the Crestfallen Merchant to see what his inventory is like. Lloyd's Talismans, nope. Homeward Bones, yeah. I could see Homeward Bones being cool. We want a little bit of that. Blooming Purple Moss, sure. Maybe. I mean, it's there. Regular Titanite, some other oddballs, like Tranquil Walk of Peace. Skull Lantern for 15,000 steep, but the covetous Silver Serpent Ring for 3 grand is amazing. Reason being, every time I put it on after killing a boss, it's going to get me bonus souls for the whole game, similar to wearing Symbol of Avarice. Or even just the way that I use Silver Serpent Ring from Firelink in Dark Souls 3 when you do hitless runs, whatever you want. Very nice. Jumping across the bridge again over here, not trying to die. I'm skipping Flame Stone Plate Ring down there as well. I don't want to see what the chest is for that. It's a little too out of the way, and we don't know what the enemies are in that very tight stairway section. Any kind of corner situations where you get trapped up against a wall, but there's no bonfire that's already been lit nearby is not worth it. And I really am trying to not get killed right here. Still having the idea in mind that I could possibly go Deathless on this, but then there's some weird wild cards, like Catacombs is very bad. Archives can be bad. And then Izalith, by the time you get there, because the scaling is high on that area, it's counted as a super late game area. The enemies that get switched for even the basic ones when it has scaling enabled is really scary. So you really truly don't want to get hit by anything over there. It just does chunky ass damage. Got Nito. So Nito is unfortunate because his skeletons do spawn in and there's no way to permanently kill them. So I'm going to have to wrangle the skeletons while fighting him at the same time, but we can't one-shot them. So it looks like it's going to be a 2-shot. And my strategy right here in mind is going to be use Nito to kill the skeletons himself by baiting his swings into them as they're recovering, and then keeping them close by being a bit greedy on purpose and then backing away, making the skeletons attack and miss me. And then when he does his AoE, like right here, they can't escape the radius. Maybe just one of them will, and that's fine because I can still take him out, heal, and then get back into the loop with the other ones. And if I repeat that process, there's always going to be a way of managing a timer of the skeletons that are down, and if there's one that's offset, maybe he'll pick up the slack and swing and get them. Now, this is the best I can possibly do. The other factor is also swinging into his body while also targeting a skeleton at the same time. So I'm doing damage to both of them simultaneously if there's a situation I can't manage. Worst scenario, if you saw that he did the sword dance right there, if a skeleton hits me and staggers me out of the next action that I would have done, which would have been a roll for the sword dance, they could lock me into the sword dance and I'd get toxic, which is not ideal, so I'm trying to avoid that. But otherwise, we just play it out and see what happens. This situation right there is so scary, I almost fell off the edge. He almost squeezed me with his feet. The skeleton blocking the pathway. Crazy. I would almost love for them to fall off of the actual map. That'd be amazing. If the skeletons didn't have an invisible boundary or they could actually get launched off, they wouldn't be able to come back. They would literally die permanently. It's one thing you'd never be able to see in Nito's arena is the skeletons falling from gravity and never coming back. The big ones didn't get triggered at the back of the arena because I didn't go to the far bridge, luckily. And what do you know? We got a moss clump from the skeleton as an item. Cool. Very cool area to fight Nito. I don't mind that at all, but now that we have him over with, there's a lesser chance of seeing him again because the way that the randomizer logic does shuffle things doesn't tend to do repeat bosses as much in my experience as you'd think, so I don't think we're going to see him again. There might even be a hard rule that it can't repeat bosses, like it actually has to do a true shuffle. Again, you can flame me if I'm just not as educated on these things. I've only done the new randomizer setup for doing the deathless attempts, and I didn't really check into all that stuff when I was doing them, but I didn't notice repeats after a certain amount of time. Almost died to the bone meal right there. I decided to just go for the kill, because I'm like, if these guys are just running around and I still go greedy for the item, I'm probably dead on the way out of this room. Thought there was a chest there for whatever stupid reason. I think I'm just panicking. But at exactly 33 minutes, 33 seconds, we're almost approaching the bonfire for Anor Londo. Not bad. That actually isn't that slow at all. To be fair, when I get here on challenge runs and I've done everything that I needed to with the setup for the regular hitless build, we could say, damageless build, whatever it is, even soul level 1, we're not really far off the mark for time compared to what we're at right now. This might even be a little bit faster. So that's good for me. I think for a very first run ever speedrunning a randomizer on Dark Souls 1, this is perfect. And in fact, for you guys that don't know, I've never actually speedran Dark Souls 1 or 2 for time in general in a serious way. We did the refund runs where you have to beat it in under 2 hours, which is not super hard for regular gameplay, I would say. But when it comes to actually doing like a serious speedrun, I've never seriously speedran this game. Dark Souls 3 I've had world records on before, so I've literally had the best speedrun in the world for certain categories at one point in time, be it soul level 1 or no major skips, all bosses, stuff like that. So that's like a little bit different. That means that I have a very high standard to have to hold myself to, and I still don't even really play close to that these days when it comes to the methods and stuff. I haven't practiced as much, and I don't even know all the new tech. But if I could incorporate some of the world-class speedrunning ideas into a randomizer like this in the future, and believe me, I will definitely learn the basic vanilla speedrun a lot better, you might actually see some regular speedruns popping up here and there on the second channel. I might even post the good ones on this one for categories I enjoy, like glitchless all bosses and soul level 1 all bosses with no glitches as well. Or we'll say no major skips, whatever the equivalent is. Let me know if you want to see some of that stuff. I think it's going to be necessary to improve the times on this too, just to get the flow of everything in the right mindset, even though the routing might be slightly different. So we got Torch Hollow on the far side of the Painted Guardian rafters. He could run up and knock me. I don't see him moving though, so I just go for the gangster jump. Nice. Very clean. Here we have a situation that happened on the best run that I'd gotten right before this. I actually made it to Anor Londo even faster than 30 minutes. And unfortunately, there were 2 Hydras. There was one that was coming from behind the bridge where the gargoyle usually is in the first position, and then there was one replacing the second gargoyle. They pinched me between the lift, and there was 10 heads on an offset just constantly plunging into the ground forever. This became quite a scenario. And what do you know? It happened again. There's still 2 Hydras. I got the same situation again. This was the crux of that run, and I gave up after a while. I died way too many times. We're going to see if we can get through this time and not die because we have a better weapon. So you'll hear a lot of sounds of Hydra heads plunging, and it just looks like a mess. Going to be getting hit by stuff you can't even see, can't even tell the location of. But as we clear out the heads slowly but surely, you'll see some progress being made. For the sake of enjoyment and just to kind of make this more watchable, I'm not going to comment too much on what I'm doing here because it is very basic. You just hide in the stairs at first, get a lot of the heads to plunge very deep into the stairwell where you're safer, and then as you come up later as the heads are cleared, you can go and make bigger plays. But I'm going to speed this up after this point just a little bit so you guys can get through this section a bit more comfortably because it is just ridiculous. At this point, it was very appealing to just go for the Hydra's body when there was 2 heads left, but it's not the safest thing. In another run that I had as a PB that didn't make it through, he did knock me off the edge of this bridge because it's not fully enclosed, and the necks at the base as they're moving back and forth can just completely sweep you right off. It's also very popular, like you just saw right there, like the head just sweeps across behind you and traps you inside where the body is too. And that does some massive counter damage. So we want to take out this head from the other side, but I'm just getting super greedy. It's incredibly hard to see with this pooling effect that it has around the body, and this is something you would never know in the normal game because you can't actually see that since he's in the water. But when it's right in front of you, though, and he's on ground, it absolutely sucks. Thank God that's over with. Hydras are down. Double Hydra pinch was overcame. This wasted so much time on this run that if we didn't get a boss that's actually physically blocking the path, we wouldn't even have to kill it. A lot of the mini-bosses that could replace that, I believe, are in the realm of the gargoyles, the boars. I think it would be the zombie dragon, the red dragon, stuff like that. But it's very popular to see the Hydras in this area for whatever reason on randomizers for Anor Londo. So I don't know what the maximum pool is for this. The Sanctuary Guardian's also something that could replace as well. I would much rather the Sanctuary Guardian, even though it's pretty hard too. It's very aggressive. Because again, you can run away from it. You don't actually have to fight it. And even if you did fight it, it would take way less time than that. So that was obnoxious. Very glad that I survived. And now we're doing Ledge of Death. What do we got? Skeleton with Scimitar, easy. Block with the Sunlight Shield, keep it nice and steady in the center. And we got Bone Wheel on the ledge. That's scary, but he fell off. Nice. Bone Wheel on the ledge is freaky because even if I block the attack, he could just roll into me and break the poise and then just chip through me or knock me off. I don't actually really know what the extent of the Bone Wheel on the ledge could be. I'm not sure if we have enough stability and endurance to block all of his roly-poly until he's done the animation. And we wouldn't be able to hit him unless we actually perfectly timed the overhead attack to interrupt as he's right in range of the weapon, which I didn't have ready, so it's another factor too. So we're sitting down, 42,000, pump that into dexterity. Maybe a little bit in dexterity, maybe into strength. What are we thinking? More health, definitely more health, yep. Gotta go with health, of course. The coward's way. One of these days, I'm not going to level a single HP point, and we're just going to go insane for damage and for endurance, and I'll show you guys. I won't get touched by anything. Hitless randomizer. Maximum stats outside of the health. So just under 45 minutes at ONS. Not a terrible time still. I'm skipping the giant blacksmith, even though the inventory is technically an interesting thing. It could have saved the run quite a bit of time in retrospect. I never actually went back to him. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, we never checked the giant blacksmith. Never checked his chest, never did anything like that. It's rare to find items that actually make back the minutes you would have spent running anyways when it goes to far distances, so it's hard to decide. So in the moment I was like, no, and we're graced with Pinwheel, of course. Pinwheel in this arena is annoying because you have to run pretty far, like we were just talking about, but he actually can get a lot of fireballs off. There's a lot of open spaces, and as you see, he almost kills me right there. If I didn't just chug past the actual damage that I would have taken from that third fireball, it would have been almost over. And with how far it takes to reach the actual copy, if you don't have a good read on where he did spawn, it's another thing that sucks because healing's going to take some time. We don't have the Firekeeper souls. There's no way to offset this quick, and humanity's being a bit slower. It's not ideal. We don't want to die with humanities on the bloodstain and lose them, because if there's any chance of me giving the witch the humanities to get the shortcut later, I need to keep all the ones on the character alive as well, or at least not pop too many before we die in archives from the scripted death. Though actually, no, now that I think about it, you don't die in archives in the scripted death because there's a difference with the randomizer that you're going to see later. So phase 2 starts. Anything with a cutscene replaces phase 2 with another boss. We got Artorias for phase 2. Wonderful. Already fumbling the beginning of it somehow. This is my favorite boss in the game, and I'm already screwing up. So we're hitting almost nothing on him. Can barely see the damage popping up. You know, some would say, like, be grateful. At least it's, you know, it's some level of damage. It's past that first black tick, right? It's in between the first 2 black ticks. And also it's yellow, too. 60 per hit. Goal on this, I was trying to be super aggressive. I was even trying to go for hits on opportunities where he's neutral, basically. It's not even actually like an attack recovery, but he's just about to decide to attack, but kind of idles for a second. Reading idles and neutral animations is very hard because there's no actual reason why the enemy would do that. It doesn't tell you ahead of time. You just have to actually react to it. It's kind of like a fighting game, so if you're fighting somebody and you're in the neutral space, like where you were kind of like reaching to see if you could make contact on like light attacks or whatever, you would have to predict that they weren't going to do something that would basically trap you. So very similar to that. Every time he screams, I also try to react as an attack opportunity that's kind of makeshift and hit him in the head as well. The recovery of this double spin is something I normally don't go for at all. We're doing that. Eventually I start to get to the point where I make him pivot and I kind of cancel his combo by my movement as well. We always interrupt the build-up attack where he does the AoE with 3 attacks overhead as well. So scream, try to go for a hit, but I miss. Keeping locked off just so I don't get kind of in a weird situation where you are jumbled because the next input you do was just locked on, so it doesn't make you roll the right direction. It makes you roll the opposite of what you want. It's a very real thing. That's why we don't fight locked on for Artorias the whole time, because the game will screw you over with that 4-way roll. I like the diagonal rolls on Artorias particularly. A lot of pivots here, a lot of side steps of the tip of the hitboxes as well. Very similar to how I play Sif. And Sif is using the same sword, so it's pretty intuitive there. I will try to correct myself after dodging the thrust, because the thrust is a big commitment attack, so I toggle to just reface in front of him, and then I attack and lock back off. And here's where I was picking up a little bit of steam. We're in the flow. We're definitely getting some more attacks in. But again, big time eater no matter which way you want to look at it. Even if I was dead perfect on this fight, it would still be a little tricky. Because you're just not killing him nearly as fast as you would kill Artorias, even in the regular game by the time you get to him. Very different. That was a big spray of pocket sand there, my man. How big are your pockets? I feel like if he was in an action movie and there was a bunch of random bandits around him and he was going to do that trick where he throws dust in somebody's eye, he'd be able to hit like literally half a circle, a 180-degree sand in the eye trick right there. And all he does is a 360 spin to finish him off. Oh, and then that's where the thrust got me, finally. Did both hits. Basically, that attack, when you're really low health, or if he actually consecutively flips you and pins you on the ground, you have to take combo damage, and it really sucks. This is basically how you get into a situation where you die, even though one attack normally wouldn't kill you on Artorias. He does have some things that are confirmed combos. And again, even when I heal right there, luckily the humanity does so much health regen that it healed half of that combo, so I didn't actually take the full blow after it went up. It's perfect timing for that. Poise also would help here because then I'd have an opportunity after getting mangled to not be knocked over or staggered, so I could heal at the same time. But Poise is not something we have on our side right this second. Could try to go medium roll setup or like fairly heavy. It's just not worth it for movement on him. I think I want to be fast. You'd think his kneecaps would be sore at this point. Also, here's where I made another cardinal mistake. I went for the pinwheel item, which is usually the mask that he drops, is in the corner of the room, and I'm sure a lot of you saw that and were like, ooh, shiny, you know, go for it. I, too, was like, hey, let's go for it. Lucerne and Golem Armor, but you know what? Not worth almost dying to, so I should have picked that up last or just left it. I was thinking if we're already fighting him, we're already in the local area, he's kind of pushed the fight to this corner, why not grab it at the same time so I don't have to run backwards after we're done killing him? One situation where you just don't do that because he's very stacked right now. The good news is there's nothing that's too much crazier than this. There is harder bosses in my opinion, and there's harder arenas they can be in. Which, it's actually kind of funny. You'll see some easier bosses that end up being harder than this later, somehow. But at least it's like a good refresher on, okay, this is like really focus mode. Like, I actually have to play good. There is no screwing around on this one. Regardless of how fast I'm playing, it has to be accurate. And even though Pinwheel went down fast, we're almost closing in on the end of Artorias after many, many minutes. Insane. We spent far too long in Anor Londo. I mean, we arrived at the bonfire at about 34 minutes, or a little bit less than 34 minutes, and 51 minutes on the clock, almost 52, and we're just getting through ONS. We didn't even go to the giant blacksmith, and we skipped the stairs. Ridiculous. That Hydra situation and him alone probably could give back 5 minutes or more, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, purely just by being shuffled for different things on the next one, even if the seed was identical. But I do think there's some other time saves later too, and I'm very excited to rerun this particular game even more than Dark Souls 3, because I think there's a lot of time to squeeze. But despite that, we haven't died yet. We're doing good. Artorias goes down, and time to claim the Lord Vessel from Guinevere. Got an assortment of random stuff we're probably not going to be using too much, and we got a humanity that's nice. 50,000 souls, and vitality, what do you know? I go for 38 of it. I save a little bit because I know I'm going to have to buy that Crest of Artorias finally from Andre, since the next thing that we probably should be doing is getting the Ring of Artorias, and we could walk on the Abyss and do 4 Kings. From what I remember, 4 Kings is a little tricky on randomizers, but on this particular randomizer versus the old one, it seems to be a bit easier. So I'm okay with going for it at any point in time, but I just want to get that ring, see what Sif is replaced with as well. He's got a big arena. It ends up being very easy to fight most things in that arena, particularly out of any other one. A little bit of hesitation here as well. It's checking that menu. I don't even know what I'm thinking about at this point, but it's got to be something. It's like, how much time do you lose to thinking in this? I don't know. I think the best way to do randomizer speedruns would be literally have a week straight where you just do them every day. Like, and you just do a bunch of them back to back, maybe like a couple. Or even like, let's say you were busy during the week and you had like one day on the weekend, you do a bunch of them back to back to back to back, reset after reset for hours. And you'll get so dialed on it, I guarantee you all these little hesitation moments where I'm thinking I'm not running perfectly straight. I'm not always sprinting, managing stamina, you know, it's going to be few and far between in comparison. And of course, it'll never be as perfect as a regular speedrun. Decision making as well is another thing. Like, I decided I wanted to go for Clifford's Tail again. What's the point though? Like, even if I got a weapon at this point from it, the chances of it being something I can use that's still better than this, upgraded to +1 at least, it's just not likely. It's not super likely. So the math on that's not checking out for the fact that I still might be running around for a couple minutes in his arena. Whereas there's still things to see that have yet to come that could be much greater, right? Bloated head guy on the tight ledge, a little sketchy. Gonna have to probably deal with him. He's got a wide span, so he'd still hit us with his hand even if we tried to run by in most cases. Dark Wraith, AFK because he's replacing the guy that pops out of the ground. Get a nice one-shot backstab. And we got the bug from Blighttown. What is replacing the soul here? The orange soapstone. Ugh. So yeah, getting this bonfire is probably smart in case I dive to the Forest Bro Covenant or anything in general happens in that arena with Sif. Since at this point, I'm committed to still continuing if I die at least once on a big stretch. I think if I died more than one time on this fight, I'd reset no matter what. Because I feel like we're not super fast at this point, but we're doing okay. We're not bad at all. We haven't died. There's no reason geographically to be like, oh, a run back's a big deal, since there hasn't been one at all yet, even if we still have the same pace. It's kind of the principle, the fact that it's deathless mainly, that is like the cardinal thing for me. It's the paramount situation here. Got a Boulder Knight replacement for the Bandit. That looks a little bit cleaner, actually. I do like Boulder Knights. The side sword's one of my favorite weapons, actually, for PvP. It's so cool. But super rare to get, very hard to get. You always get it when you don't want it. The ring from the Forest Covenant, Dried Finger. Interesting. Some items I don't really need that much. What is replacing the stone armor? Soul of Lost Undead. Come on. See, that's baloney, dude. I don't want to run into that corner ever again. But we see a dino right there. I'm going to go super wide on the tree line. We're not going straight through. Just in case he jumps across. They do have crazy jumps they do in the air. They probably could clear most small buildings in residential areas if they were real. It is freaky. And again, you could be hit by their feet even if it physically doesn't touch you or visually the texture doesn't overlap you at all. It's got a pretty big invisible radius. What could be behind the magic door? Checking the rings again. So we got Havels and Chloranthion. That's perfect. And of course, we're not going to get to see what replaces Sif till we trigger the cutscene. Curious of what the Hornet Ring is actually going to be replaced with. Cleansing Great Shield's really good, actually. Don't have a lot of strength, though. And we got Seath, the Great Grey Seath. Interesting. And then I'm immediately just forgetting Crystal. Got to break it first. Luckily, I didn't just lollygag around too much there. Seeing that it was 90 damage and the fact that Seath is a magic dragon and I have a magic Titanite catch pole, you know, not a great combination for damage. So I'm checking some other stuff, but then realizing, you know what, catch pole's probably still a really good bet. And I did hit his leg. His leg's not the highest damage area of his body. So we can hit more than 90 on his actual belly if we make sure we get into that area too. And also I remember too, again on Randomizer, with the way that you can play Seath, you can get hit by the crystals a little bit and have some mild curse buildup. It's not really that big of a deal to be super aggressive. Very different than Hitless, very different than some of the other runs I do. We're going to be a little spicier on this one. I think a missed opportunity to go into the center earlier was left behind there, but now we're in there, and it is much better. One thing that's really cool too, if you get in this pocket where that little crystal's poking out of his belly, that suspicious little front tail, whatever you want to call it, little stub, he'll swing over your head. Like, he just won't hit you. He probably won't even hit you in the dead center of his belly, but I like to just be in this pocket right here, swinging across the side, moving back into the middle, and he just will never hit you with melee at all. There's no melee attack he's doing that's getting you. That's a free opportunity. I usually don't go for those either in the regular fight, because I feel like it's just extra risk I don't want to have. Well, you know, I'm already there. I could exit, and then the next attack might be kind of scary. Or I'll use the melee attack to reposition, but because this arena, again, is so big, it doesn't really matter. Imagine this, that you can mod Armored Core specifically, and you have Seath as a boss, and Seath can fly, he's airborne, and then he also can be on the ground too, and he shoots lasers at you directly, not just on the ground. Everything else is the same though. He can put the crystals on the ground when you're on the ground, but he shoots lasers at you directly, swipes at you, can fly, and then do flying melee attacks. Would that not be the coolest thing ever, man? They should do it. They got to cross it over. I mean, like Moonlight Greatsword, I think it was in Armored Core, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure at one point it was, or something like that. It's ironic too that his crystals do actually have sound effects, but Artorias can't even get a sound effect for the slam. Those beautiful flips don't even have audio. Oh, we're clearing the 1 hour mark right here. We're in the late game. We have 4 lords left after Seath. Seath being one of the lords normally, and we already killed Nito technically, so that's kind of funny. We have 2 of them marked off the list that aren't going to give us any items to actually open up the kiln at all. So I'm very curious of who's going to be replacing them in particular. Might even be a good idea to go for Seath first and check out Enorlando. I will say that Tomb of Giants, I've met my demise in far too many times on deathless attempts for randomizers, and just... it's not a good combination with the Dark unless you already have the Sunlight Maggot, or I was to buy that Skull Lantern from the Crestfallen Merchant. Even then too, because there's enemies that have projectiles that hit really hard, they don't have to be visible even with light to be able to get you, so you can die all at once from like things flying through the air as you turn the corner or you clear the first fog gate. It's very scary. So we'll boost stats a little bit more. My character is doing a funny leg thing at the fire there, stretching out the feet while I'm thinking about where to go. And is it going to be Enorlando? Oh, but wait a second, though. This is a mistake. It might seem like that's a good idea, but we got to place the Lord Vessel so we can even offer the souls later. And I remember this right about here. I'm like, yeah, we could just totally go. I'm thinking like, hey, maybe we should go and get the Mimic that has the Crystal Halberd. Ha ha ha. It's only been an hour. Then the Chandler's dancing. And as soon as it happens, I triggered the thought. I was like, it's going to be the Yellow Fog Gate. Right around this guy. Homeward Bone in 3, 2, 1. So yeah, that was a waste of time right there. That was probably the biggest time sink outside of trying to debate going for an actual item or an enemy tail cut, whatever it may be. Anything that actually is viable or could lead to something that was completely useless. But no big deal. Gonna say hi to Frampton, betray him by just dropping into his hole here. And then with the Lord Vessel actually placed, Enorlando does seem like it would be the path of least resistance in my mind. For whatever reason, again, Izalith just is a little bit more brutal, and there's no point of trying to do Izalith with Centipede and Fire Sage included if we do know that we might not have to do them. Like, again, there's even a chance of doing one but not the other. And, yeah. That area where you do the longer path to Bed of Chaos just isn't as favorable anyways. I would say the shortcut with the bridge is just the ticket. There's less actual total enemy density. Boosted Blighttown guy was hitting pretty hard right there at that backhand. That's actually impressive considering we have, I believe, what is 40 vitality roughly, or again, the soft cap for vitality for this game. And dude, he hit like, what was that, 35%? Oh, this part's crazy too, actually. I just remembered. So he's coming up from behind. He hits the hard limit and has to default. And then we have this centipede, like, literally blocking the whole pathway where there's no way to go anywhere. It's genuinely impossible. So I'm not even sure why his damage was so high. That was very, very close. No idea what the moveset of that thing was in general. They usually don't even appear coming out of the ground like that. They're upside down typically from the one that spawns in the area where the Chaos Ember would be. And then there is the one that comes sideways out of the wall normally. So it's just a really weird orientation altogether. There is a grab attack in particular. And then there's just some other shit that's crazy. So yeah, that one counter hit. Death if I didn't level Vitality to the point that it is right now, easily, just from that one attack. Very nice that we did, even though it's a little bit of like a baby play. It's probably why we're still alive right now. Very similar things that are transpiring here, where small changes could have changed everything with the same events. So now we got Moonlight Butterfly replacing Crystal Guy with the bow. Not going to block the stairwell, but we have the creepy crawly Skeleton Man coming into the elevator shaft. I'm okay with leaving him behind. I was trying to get a good look at everything else, but I can't see much. Basilisk, and then a Crystal Lizard's actually really nice. So the fact that that guy usually jumps through the pillars and gets you with a surprise jump attack. I'd say that layout overall, even given the guy from Tomb of Giants, is probably easier. Toxic Dude from Painted World. And then we have Roly Poly Skeleton as well. Not bad. I would love to do Duke Skip on this run too and save even more time, but we don't even have a bow. So there'd be no point of me trying to do it freestyle. There is ways to do Duke Skip without measuring anything, but I haven't done it for a really long time. It's something that also is very janky, where you usually take way more attempts and you can actually just die doing it before even getting to the point where you'd save it with a quit out, because the second part of the setup where you land on the handrail could be fall death. That's just kind of like overshooting basically where your foot placement is, and then you land outside the pocket to actually start the setup. So with the measured setup, you can never actually get into that scenario anyways. It already saves you from that. The only way you could fail is the last part, in most cases at least, if you're average at it. I was debating trying to kill the guy that replaced the Crystal Man. This is the thief from the forest that just tries to backstab fish you when you're going to the Forest Hunter Covenant. I don't know why, again, I decided to try to fight him. There's nothing he could drop at this point that would matter too much. It wouldn't change a lot of stuff. So again, I was just debating it for a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna run. This is the event I was talking about earlier too, where you actually can't die from the scripted Seath event like you normally would in a regular playthrough. They actually have a mini boss replacing the invincible Seath, and we got Sanctuary Guardian. Oh my god. This is bad for a couple reasons, but you'll see one of them once we get going here. So, as you can see, he can actually move on places that are out of bounds. So he's not actually in the arena here. You can't access him. He still can shoot things into the arena, but they're blocked by a random collision that you actually can't see unless you have a collision map or something like that, which you can obviously see we don't have. And then this actually wastes time, so we have to quit out because now he's out of bounds, but he's not dead from doing that. I was hoping he'd fall through the mesh or the floor itself in just one shot. I don't know how you would be able to force that, though. If there's anyone that does know, if you've done these like just casually even and you've had it happen, I'm sure a lot of you guys have had seeds where you had Sanctuary Guardian for Invincible Seath Arena. Biggest thing you can do here to survive is on the 4-piece combo for the melee. You do have to do a very, very sharp angle to redirect the second attack, or you will just get cornered every single time. There's not enough runway to back up. And even from the center, you're always going to get caught on a crystal or something like that. So I have to be like turning as I'm moving if I can't do that pivot, or I'm going to be rolling very sharp on that first attack to make him miss the second one. One thing that I noticed is really interesting too is if you actually purposely get hit by the wind gust, he'll miss you with the headbutt by such a small margin, you actually have access to the tail cut easier than any other opportunity. Because when he does the fly-in, something really weird happens. He like bounces off your head and does a ton of damage when he takes off, and then he lands all goofy. I don't know if that's even normal. When I played this fight every other time, I do not recall that event actually happening, but here you go. You see the missed headbutt right there with the purposeful stagger before where I tried to have it happen, and you do get the tail access. Sadly, I don't get the tail cut in this fight. So as I'm going, I'm still going for regular opportunities of dodging the wind gust anyways. Still get 2 nice safe hits right there, and he doesn't jump away as soon. But yeah, this one's a little scary because we have low health. It does have to be played fairly clean. And as you saw right there, see, he basically does this weird dive in. He bounces off your head, backflips, and then flies across the sky. I don't know why that's a thing. I don't know. I don't know what to say. There's a chance that that's an attack that's only on the double Sanctuary Guardian fight that's in the garden when you go back after the DLC's done, and I just forgot about it. But on the actual boss, though, like, unless I'm literally spacing out so hard here, I don't remember that at all. Look, dude, it knocks you over, too. That's brutal. I wonder if we had high poise, if we would fall over still. Because that right there costs you a huge amount of time to heal before he comes back in. And then you lose placement as well. You can't reposition as fast. I think I distinctly remember, too, like, we've had a Titanite Demon replace Seath here. And even though the moveset of Titanite Demon's not as mobile, because he hooks you into his attacks when he reaches and everything, we've died on deathless attempts for this randomizer before as well in this room. And I was trying my hardest. The whole mindset was like, just don't think about that at all. Like, just pretend this is a completely different thing, because I would easily just end up kind of like succumbing to being scared of doing this part and just die. It got pretty close too. So just short of a hour and 12 minutes here, we're coming up on Sanctuary Guardian actually going down. And at least we got to see him, even if he doesn't get shuffled as a regular fight. Look what he's doing to me. Almost got me right there with the bounce again, but he comes back. He comes back and almost connects, then he almost corners. Divine Blessing's the only chance, but it's a big heal. Can we go for it? Oh my god. As the charge up happens, no way, dude. Within 1 fraction of a second, somehow get out of it, dodge the headbutt. That right there was fractions of a second away from not working in every single facet right there. Every single little piece of that little puzzle there. Oh my god, that's comedy. And then he just somehow gets wonky and he falls over as he's taking off, and the lightning beam shoots on an angle that's not normal. He's got floppy mod. He's got the physics mod enabled where his head's flopping all over the place. Crazy, man. You'd never be able to see that normally. Now I'm just failing to bonk the snake through the bars, so I take a break and light the bonfire. Calm down a little bit. I'm getting frustrated. Man, what is that? There we go. Finally can get it. Guess I was a little bit too close. With the key to the tower, we're going to do a quit out and we're going to reset the enemies coming out of the lower jail area. Just makes the staircase a little bit nicer. You could also homeward bone, but I don't want to waste those in case I can use them in better situations later, because it's such a small stretch that it doesn't matter that much. So quit out is fine. I'm still using the real time and not pausing it when I do quit outs, by the way, so all this extra time on loading screens and during the main menu loading back in is still counted in real time. We will show the in-game save file time at the very end, which was it was pretty good. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. You'll have to see, but I was happy with it despite the situations that happen. And as you can see right here, we don't have the flood of the jailbreak. Everybody's still chilling in that room. They will chase you as you go by this room if you get too close, but it gives me an opportunity to break for the ladder immediately, and you could see so many odd characters. Everything from the DLC. DLC dog and a demon. Almost get comboed with the dog and the spear. So now I'm like, okay, I don't want to get stuck on the contraption to open the actual big doors. That would be bad. Or the alarm. The alarm contraption. Taking out the demon first, not likely. He's got a lot of health. Going for the dog. I'll take the trade on the demon, and then basically we got to go for him next while Crystal Golem lags behind because he's the slowest. So we're running in circles trying to get an opening here. I basically need an angle where I can just get quick hits on the demon, stagger him, but not get interrupted by the golem at the same time as demon pokes me, or I probably will die there. And now we're going to let golem live because he's not going to catch up. Got giant leggings as well, which is great. Those are very, very cool. They also look great too. And what do you know? They drop a Twinkling Titanite, so that's another one I can actually use before we meet the requirements of 2 per upgrade, and then it goes up even more. So this is the last upgrade breakpoint where you could use a single one. Almost enough to level, but I'm not going to go for that. And now we escape. Another situation that's classic when it comes to just a lot of different playthroughs, a lot of challenges that are even vanilla as well. This area running backwards just sucks. So we're going to have a pretty good layout of enemies that replace the Chandlers and the basic Crystal guys, even though typically Chandlers and Crystal guys aren't the nicest. Let's see. So I got Sunlight Shield out, blocking just for that physical reduction and the stability. Oh, look, it's the goober from the jail that would have been in the lower area. Mini Ebrietis, I like to call her. We have Super Mario Cactus Guy, okay. And we got some Capper Demons, or a Capper Demon, sorry. I don't even look to the right here. I have no idea. Oh, I think it might have been another Capper Demon, actually. I saw a little bit of the sword in the corner there. My eyeballs were glued to just going forward, even though I tilted the camera a little bit when I was playing, so I didn't check. Can we get a view on it? I don't know if it was a Capper. What is it down there? I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, Basilisk at the top. Don't want to get cursed, so 2-shot him. And then he dropped a large Titanite. That's all right, I guess. Again, just got to go for large Ember, but I don't think we're going to at this point. I'm feeling the speed. I think it's working a little bit. We got Pineapple Guy at the top of stairs. He's probably not going to crawl down, so no projectiles that he can do that I'm aware of right now, at least, that, you know, it's dangerous in the situation, so we're good. And we're cruising down the ladder. What is over here? Oh, another demon. Goodbye. Was too big for the ledge. Born too big for his home, unfortunately. And another Twinkling Titanite. Amazing. Man, I'm actually glad I'm not going to where Big Hat Logan is. Or I guess, again, re-challenging the Seath in the arena. Dude, look at the enemies down there in the distance. I don't even want to know what's going on. So, traveling all the way back here to Andre for a second. Didn't get the weaponsmith box of any sort. We haven't seen it yet. We're going to go and just get our weapon reinforced right now as I'm fiddling around trying to get the menu proper. 1 Twinkling Titanite. It's a shame I didn't get a third one because I could have got +3 and that could have made a big difference. But maybe we'll still have time to get another one. Who knows? One thing that's amazing for anyone that actually doesn't play a lot of randomizers, or maybe you're a little bit newer to these games, you've played them, but you don't fully understand how crazy the difference is having a Demon Titanite weapon or a Twinkling Titanite weapon versus regular Titanite. The upgrade path is so much shorter, but by default, without even upgrading the weapon, it does so much more damage, and the margins of increase are huge. So you don't really have to do as much, and you get a lot more. And because the materials are shuffled, and accessibility is not gated between the way the game's usually ordered as much, you have the best bet of using a weapon like that to succeed in these things, not regular Titanite weapons at all. So you're just going to see a lot of weird ones when people are doing this kind of stuff. why it was very clutch that Petrus in the beginning did actually sell this, and it was so cheap too. Not only that, again, there's a lot of equivalent weapons for damage output, regardless of the split with elements or anything like that, that just have way higher requirements. Even if we say, for example, the machete that I already have, that I picked up, was just as good or whatever, which it is actually. I'd say it's better even. It's just, it takes so long to actually wield, right? Giant's Halberd as well, I believe. I don't know if it was this run we got in. I can't remember if I picked it up yet or it was in a previous one. That's a really great weapon you could buy from Giant Blacksmith normally, but we found it in Firelink, where one of the small souls were up the stairs to the lift. And again, just stat requirements. All right, Crystal Cave, what do we got? What's going on here? Oh, small dog from Upper Blighttown, nice. It's quite a mismatch for the scale of the regular enemy there. I'm going to do a quit out to respawn the Titanite lizards here in case there's more twinkling in this case, because they are auto drop. We got 2 chunks for the fly, or the mosquito, sorry. Big Humanity, let's see what we got from him. 2 chunks and a dragon scale. Okay, again, no dragon weapons have dropped so far, but even if there was one to drop, the only one that's pretty viable that I can think of is the Drake Sword, and that's not the greatest late game anyways, because again, requirements are really high for the other ones that are special. We had the rat fade away as a crystal lizard, or run away, whatever. The 2 chunks from him and Green Shard, whatever. Thought it'd be worth it because we're literally standing on the spot in front of the cave anyways, just to do that quit out and refresh. So it's only going to be like an extra 30 seconds or something, nothing crazy. And this is quite an assortment again. We got Tree Guy, Demon, another Moonlight Butterfly, Hollow in the distance. And I'm kind of worried about that Moonlight Butterfly shooting into the arena for Seath before the cutscene loads. Let me make sure she doesn't turn around fully. Gonna like skirt across that wall, just check behind me really quick. Tree Guy's making it in there. And we got Gwyn! Oh my god, thank god I had the shield on too. But this is where it gets funny, because the Tree Guy's still in the arena, so this is a double fight. Going for the parry setup on Gwyn, decided to just 2-hand the Titanite catch pole to get a little bit more damage, why not? Didn't think about trying to rotate Gwyn and get the parry setup again, but as I'm escaping randomly, his thrust attack actually kills the Tree Guy. That's absolutely amazing. That was not planned, but it was beautiful. Switching some rings around, I went to Leo thinking I might have had Hornet Ring here. I don't know why I did that. I think it was because on another run I did have Hornet Ring, and I was just mistaking them. But now we're trying to get some distance from Gwyn to get a medium attack, and we do. They're the easiest to parry next to the opening attacks that are huge, but all the close range ones aren't worth it randomly unless you do the method where you chug the Estus Flask or consume an item that makes him do the double swing. And even that's still only 90% of the time. It's not guaranteed he'll do it every time, like some people do say. You can try it yourself. He will stop doing it eventually, or he won't even do it right away even sometimes. It's not 100% guarantee at all. That's why I think the very first ever hitless run, if you guys saw Hob do that live or even just on the VOD, he actually had pretty good luck, even though technically he didn't have to do too many parries in that one. There was a chance that Gwyn was still going to do the quick swipe even though he did the consumable method. So it's pretty scary, but that makes it even cooler of a run in my opinion because of the gamble on that. But now we have this one that I was making where you just go behind him. This was for the SL1. I think it was SL1 hitless trilogy or damageless that I came up with the idea of just like making him turn and then miss an attack or just linger for a second, have to reset the range that he attacks from so you can actually predict it. And then you don't have to worry. But the nice thing is in the Seath Arena, it's huge. So his regular cave does not constrict you from the stalagmites and all that. And we got Gwyn. So even again, no matter what happens to the rest of this, we've had a crazy lineup. We did get 2 Lord fights. We got, what else? Like, we got the Asylum Demon at least. That was fun. Got Smo. We got Artorias, so 1 DLC boss. Got Gwyn. Not bad so far. Let's see what else we get. So lots of souls to put in. 40 Vitality here. 19 Endurance. What else are we doing? Firelink. I think I'm going to go for Nito now, actually. I believe that was the plan. And we're just under an hour and a half. See, I would have loved to be beating the game in the next like 15 minutes from now. And the dream of that would be a reality only if the Hydra didn't exist in Anor Londo, Artorias wasn't the second boss, and there had been something I had done to get a slightly better weapon setup. Would have been probably possible to beat it in another 15 minutes from now, even with a similar seed. And of course, like there's skill issues, like I don't play perfectly on some things later. Even up till now, I did make mistakes. There's a lot of fumbles and stuff. And look at this, boom, first death. First death at an hour and 24 minutes, dude. One shot. If you're ever gonna die in a single hit with 40 vitality and heavy armor on, like the stone armor, dude, it's gonna be a mushroom or it's gonna be the chain prisoner. That's it. I don't know of another enemy. Like, please name an enemy in the comments if you know a single entity that's not a boss that could one-shot you from a single attack at 40 health and that heavy armor. Like, so I was kind of pissed at this point, but I was like, you know what? Again, that ended deathless, but we haven't died on a boss yet, which is fine. So being able to claim no boss deaths would be cool. We'll see if we can keep it together. And you know, even despite that, we're not losing too much time. I only ran for like, what, 20 seconds to get to that point, so another 20 seconds isn't too much. This time, killing this guy, waiting for the punch. I should have waited the first time. And one of the biggest things that should have popped up in my mind is on deathless attempts for randomizers, I did get one punched by the mushroom pretty far into a attempt. I think it happened a couple times, plus the chain prisoner got me. So for if I ever see those two enemies, their reminder should pop up in my mind of do not go forward until they attack and be very careful. Don't just run by them. Even if they do attack too, make sure it's like a really long windup or something they have to recover from, because there's so many varieties of things they can do that just end you. And I don't know why that's the case. I don't know why they made them so strong. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess some would say too, another factor, if I didn't have fat roll enabled, if I had the medium roll set up, or I had just stuck with light roll, I would have been able to do an input fractions of a second sooner when he actually connected the punch, and I would have already been out of the area of where it was too. So even just the equip load being different from when I was fumbling through the menu there right before, being slightly different would have saved me. So it's a shame, but you know, it's skill issue, and also just I should have remembered how strong they are. All right, we got a variety of hooligans here. Almost getting trapped on the urns. Luckily, one of the enemies breaks it. I go for that exit on the left, and then I'm going to try to do the catacomb skip still anyways. Very funny. They fall down. I plunge because I see the enemy below me survives. Skeleton falls anyways. He dies, and there's an item drop. I chug up safely outside of the Dark Moon Seance chamber thing where you get the ring usually. Basilisk goes for a wind up for a thrust, but then actually ends up falling off the edge while he winds up. Mosquito almost gets me. And then we plunge down here. Let's see what we got below. Gardener with the watering can, not too bad. And, okay, this is not good. So this is another situation where we're kind of subject to luck here. Very lucky. We got Ornifex, and we have the Stompy Dino. Stompy Dino right on that ledge could have almost ended me anyways, but Ornifex hits super hard. They're from Painted World. Counter hits with the wings and everything are not great. And at the health I have left, like, dude, there's no chance that that would have played out the same way if they decided to do slightly different time things, or maybe that the Birdman saw me a little sooner. So very, very lucky there. And what do you know? Look at that. Ornstein and Smo phase 1. And whenever you get phase 1 ONS, it's always going to be both of them. It's never going to be a separate character model. You can only get them separately if you get a phase 2 shuffle, where you get Big Ornstein or Big Smo like we already did. So that's amazing. This is the smallest arena I think there is that's possible other than Capra Demon. It might technically be this. No, you know what? No, I don't want to say it's the similar size. It's not similar. It's a little bigger. Just a little bigger than Capra Demon Arena. But I think it might be the second smallest arena in the game for what people claim is the hardest fight in the normal game without DLC. I don't think they're the hardest fight in the normal game. I think it's the hardest to get really good at, like stupid good at, like surviving for like half an hour straight without making a mistake. Only particularly the phase 1, not the phase 2. Luckily, with the scaling, pinwheel damage isn't as bad. But again, I get a little bit greedy and I start to get in over my head here, get comboed, and all you have to do is be in a corner and it's over. So right here, it could have ended. Ornstein does get me, but what is that that's saving me? Would that be perhaps blue Tearstone Ring? Could we have made a breakthrough? I don't know if that would have actually worked if we didn't have it. Amazing. I was talking about that before, but even late game still, it's coming through. And luckily I'm hitting quite a bit of damage on them as well. Like, they actually are weak to magic. And the sorcery run, I was teaching my buddy how to do hitless, and he actually succeeded in it. We did a build that was just a lot of crystal soul spears, and they ate them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they couldn't handle it. It was great. So now we're repeating a very similar process that we did on Super Smo that was replacing Ceaseless, but he doesn't have lightning on his butt slam, so we can stay very close. Swinging back into range right after, even getting some counter hits as well if we wanted to. And we got the Rite of Kindling, perfect. That's probably going to be useful for certain things. Makes you feel a little safer going through areas knowing that you could scale the flask to 20 if you wanted to. But again, the amount of humanities that I put into Kindling in general are going to be taking away from the opportunity that I don't know is available yet for skipping Izalith with the shortcut. So even though I have 13 on the character, I have 1 in my inventory, and then I still have some doubles. So I have 1 single, and then I think I have a stack of doubles as well. We don't have 30 at all, and we have to find several more to be able to do that shortcut. And I also can't die twice with the Bloodstain either. So there's a little bit of pressure for that. I'm thinking about that right around this moment, I believe. And hour and a half, touchdown on Tomb of Giants. 2 lords left in Gwyn. Oh boy. At this point, the levels probably aren't going to make a big difference for damage or for health or anything like that. Endurance might help a little bit, but we're not going to be able to gain many more levels that pop up with the rest of any percent unless we go and do all the content. I don't know why I was trying to fight Patches. I really don't. I think I was just mad at him. He fell off anyways, but he lives, which is weird. Like, how does he survive that fall? I don't even know how it's possible, but yeah. I walked to the edge of the cliff for whatever reason. I think I was just checking to see if he was there, thinking about dropping down, but no, we're not doing that. Going through the darkness, no Skull Lantern, we're taking our chances here. This is where it gets a little spicy. So once you go through this gate, you have no idea what's on the other side. Lots of enemies in the distance, possible projectiles. You already see the Vagrant. We got the Rat. You got Demon poking, poisoned, and then the Vagrant combos for most of my health right there, and it's an evil one. That's all you need. So imagine you were doing Deathless and you made it all the way to there, and you're probably going to be, we'll say, a good 9 hours into an attempt. We'll say 7 to 9 hours into an attempt at Tomb of Giants, if you're doing pretty good pace. Maybe the second day of playing, and then you have that happen. That's really annoying. So yeah, very blessed to not be doing that particular run at this point, and we could just run back and shake it off. And the one thing that's frustrating too is when you do key items shuffled, searching for key items in Tomb of Giants is kind of almost like, the only thing I can think about that's an equal comparison is if you were terrified of having needles put in you, like as a kid or something like that, and you're getting a booster shot or you're going to the dentist or something, and you know you have to, and the car ride there is super long, but it's also like just not a nice day and you got in trouble, you're grounded, all your toys and video games are taken away, you're not getting ice cream for like a week straight. You're having something healthy for dinner or something like that that's disgusting that night. You got in trouble at school. Like, it's just the worst day ever as a child when you're trying to find key items in Tomb of Giants. Ugh. Just stupid, man. My typical experience on it, even getting lucky with it, in the odd chance I made it there across a few randomizers, was few and far between. So now we're going human. I don't know why I did this. I think it might have been for Leroy, like a Leroy spawn. Oh no, to kindle, sorry. Kindling to 10. Because you can't kindle without that. That was, yeah. That was obvious, okay. So we know we have a Vagrant, we know we have the Demon. Demon's throwing spear from far. I roll the Vagrant spray at the beginning. That's lucky that the Demon didn't approach with a melee attack, because they're very fast with movement. Vagrant spray just misses from the corner again, but I land on the higher arch of the cave. Demon plunges, misses me, and the guy that swung, that got me before, just, they can't get me. Wow. Like, that was also very lucky too, but just the idea of trying to be higher up on the cave wall so the enemy that's right beside on the ground level, maybe like 4 feet below, misses, is probably what saved me there too. And there's something floating in the distance I'm looking at right there. I'm not sure what that is. Just floating in open space. Some sort of asset spawned in or something like that. Crystal Lizard as a dog, and then Leroy does invade, but we're not going for him. I don't care what replaces the Sanctus. Does not matter to me at this point. We got Bloated Head for one of the Cactus Mario guys. I don't know what their actual name is. It's like a skeleton tower or something like that. But they do remind me of the Cactus dudes. Miyazaki was 100% inspired by that. Prove me wrong. Silver Knight deletes himself. Logged out because his mom said it was time for dinner. That's crazy, man. Or maybe he got in trouble. Who knows? Maybe he was the guy that was going to the dentist. Crimson Robe. It's okay, but hey, at least that big dino's not going to be able to reach me, right? And the mushroom's a little bit further down the path, so it looks safe. Torch Hollow's going ballistic. I do go for the soul of a hero over here. It's a Stora's straight sword, which sucks. I know some people are huge fans of that weapon, but like it actually just sucks, unfortunately, for us right now. Don't think it's going to do much. And we plunge into Nito's arena with almost half health. What do we got? Well, since we don't have to worry about the sword dance, I decided to chug, but it is a gargoyle that reaches and it bridges the gap immediately just as quick as the sword dance. So, same thing. More damage. Amazing. Hold the toxic and deliver the melee. So he's going for tail slam. Tried to get a cut, like, but facing him vertical. It didn't work that well. And then I realized, wait a second, there's going to be a second gargoyle. So I keep fighting. And I'm not really thinking of how I want to position myself here. I'm just sort of getting greedy because it looks possible. And then this is where, again, I missed the tail cut for the stagger. I'm behind on pacing. And the fight becomes completely different than I expect it's going to be. Because they can spam fire and there's these weird rocks in the middle, the fire does go through the rocks on the corner, so I can't use the corner to, like, snipe them or, like, just skim away some of the health. Their weapons go through there. They fly over each other's heads. And there's only one real solution to fix this problem, but I don't realize it till way after, so I'm going to let it play out until that moment. So this is around the point where I decided to run against the direction that they were going to bait one of them separately to the other side of the circle and see if they don't both follow. And they did separate a little bit. Then, of course, I got the tail cut. And I finished the first gargoyle. So this would have been a really smart idea right away. I just didn't think it would matter. I thought they would both just be chasing no matter what. Glad I tried it. Still getting barbecued by the fire at the end right there. And then as this guy goes for punches and misses some attacks, we can just focus on him, and it's a way easier fight than fighting two in this arena. I waste quite a bit of time. I would say like I wasted more time than a lot of other fights just kind of lollygagging around there. And there was no way to safely land hits without a random chance of a halberd coming through the body of another one, or the fire starting and it just offsetting the whole entire combo of the main gargoyle. But it's over. Nothing like gargoyles scaled up to Nito in his cave. Oh man. It's a very, very stressful arena for a double boss fight, I'll say that much. And imagine the variety was different too. Imagine you could get one and then a variety of a different one. Oh, so we're at 140 now. We have an option to go back to Firelink to either do Izalith or to go and try Four Kings specifically. I was thinking, well, again, humanity-wise, we got what? The one double, a single that's not pops, that's 17 in total plus the 14 that we have. So that makes 17. We still need 13 humanities. We have no Firekeeper souls to pop to get a surplus of 5 per Firekeeper. Doesn't really look good for Izalith right this second. But we do have the ring to go and traverse the abyss. I just have to drain the seal for New Londo Ruins, which I haven't done yet. Sometimes I'll do that a little bit earlier. So thinking about it, I'm like, oh man, draining the seal for Ingward at the moment. Nah, it's kind of sketchy. Just a little bit sketchy. And I think that with that thought process, I decided to actually just go back through Blighttown anyways. Also, I believe I was debating that if we did have to do Centipede and we did have to do Fire Sage, it didn't matter. I was willing to just cut my losses and go for that right now and not waste too much time trying to find humanity. But there's something interesting that happens anyways. It's a little bit of a weird middle ground, and you'll see. We've already been through Blighttown. We're familiar with what enemies are here. There's no problem. And luckily I did remember all of them, so nothing to worry about too much. The only problem with doing the Mega Warp earlier is that we do have to rerun all of it front to back, but I always find that faster anyways, because falling down the platform saves more time than crawling down, or sorry, crawling up the ladders that are mandatory. You can skip all the ladders normally, but you can't skip them on the way up. Oh, there is a dino in the corner over there. I see you. Oh man, what's he doing over there in that platform? That's okay, that's a little scary. And I guess you know because the screen shake. Yeah, he's going through the platform with the upper portion and then his legs are in the ground. That's just not nice. One thing that's kind of cool too here, I remembered the halberds, they do that glitchy attack. We were talking about this in the Curse Bro run where you have Black Knight halberd and you can do the attack in the water that's instantaneous. I'm not sure if I do it right at this moment. It might have been earlier when we were going through. Yeah, I think it was on the way to Moonlight Butterfly actually, but if you want to see that part, just go back to the part where I was doing Moonlight Butterfly earlier on. If you have a halberd in water, you can instantaneously do the running attack. There's no startup frames, it just happens. It's just ridiculously fast. I don't know why. I would love to see if there's more scenarios in the game where other weapons have their animations cut from different circumstances, but there's probably not too many to compare at all, so yeah, we'll see in the future. So going back to a fast setup here, poison doesn't really bother me too much, it's all good. Thinking, you know, we could touch down at the Daughters of Chaos bonfire and at least get an item in trade for joining the Covenant. Not a bad idea. And then at least we have some sort of home base, but I also alternatively could just go and get the Demon Ruins bonfire, assuming I'm not going to get the humanities. And I think that was my thought process because we're right by the door. It's just a little bit less backtracking. Little did I know something was going to change with the plot of what the goal was here. So, gonna cruise through Demon Ruins. These enemies in particular are all dormant. They do not activate unless you start to fight them. I believe even fighting them, for some of them, they wouldn't really do much. They're kind of replacing the egg guys in the same fashion that they just chill. Almost saved myself from taking a lot more fall damage there. That was a big slip off the cliff, but you can do rolls to correct yourself sometimes if the surface is appropriate. So halfway down right there, I reset the fall. Sometimes you can do it, and there's a speedrunning method actually to skip light time where you do a medium roll or a heavy roll or something like that at the very bottom, and you take no fall damage through a lethal distance. It's pretty impressive. On that part, I've fallen amounts of damage that are most of the health and then reset it to nothing by rolling at the very bottom, but I can't always do it. This is very similar to like kind of peeling off a ledge. When we did speedruns for Dark Souls 3, you'd grab the soul item and do a item cancel off the ledge before Dragon Slayer armor, and then you do a roll right before you hit the ground to save full health so you don't have to heal, and it saves time. That was a fun one, so little things like that. We got the blow dart guy replacing the centipede. And because we are human here, I'm forgetting at the moment that we can't we can't light the bonfire because Kirk is invading. So we're gonna wait for Kirk. 7 humanities, and I almost died of 2 vagrants there, or what looked like 2 vagrants. Maybe they're just kind of like dispersing. Was that only one? Kirk is usually pretty squishy. He doesn't have a lot of health. I'm thinking at this point with the weapon being upgraded like it is, just go for a parry. Look at that. Most of his health right there, and then we should be able to finish him off. No problem. What's he gonna drop us? I was hoping for more humanities, but he doesn't give us more humanities. He gives us a red titanite slab. That's very interesting. Nothing that we'd probably be using in a randomizer. Vagrant's just completely empty for all the trouble it gives me. And yeah, 13 humanities, so 15, 15. Sorry, I was wrong on the math. Technically, with the other humanity that we got, I guess, in total, yeah, we have 30 right now. So we can do the shortcut, and we don't actually have to go and do the Fire Sage boss. But because the bonfire that we already left behind now, it being active and everything, it doesn't matter. We can't warp to Daughters of Chaos. We never actually officially activated it. I am going to go and just go and basically kill the Fire Sage boss so I can touch down at the one over here that's closer to Bed of Chaos. And then we're going to go and run from there manually through the shortcut door without even touching the heals we have right now. I'm pretty sure we're just going to go in one straight shot. And ironically, we get Bed of Chaos, which is one of the easiest bosses you can get on a randomizer because it's completely exposed. There's no branch scenario, really. Ironically, this room just happens to have branches as part of the arena. But the bug is one-shottable as usual, and the arms are accessible way earlier than normal. So that's a really, really good one that we could have gotten. It makes me annoyed that the whole shenanigan thing we had with the humanity situation over there, we got an extra humanity from that anyways. It's like we probably could have done something to save some more time and just went for that. But now that we lit that bonfire, at least that's something that's available. Homeward Bone back to this one. Go to activate the shortcut. Which, actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I didn't have to go and do Bed of Chaos at all. Maybe I was just doing it, not thinking fully. Yeah, I might have mathed that completely incorrectly, but I think when I checked my inventory really quickly, I got the flash of a total of 15, and then 15 on the character, so we might have been able to homeward right there. Anyways, there's definitely some time save that we can have with the way that this was organized, no matter what. Oh, wait, was I one off? 13 plus the double? No, wait, was I? 31? Yes, I was one off. So we could have homeward boned. We could have homeward boned completely. Crazy. And again, that would have saved maybe an extra minute and a half or something like that. But either way, at least we got it. We got to keep one if I want to kindle for any reason. Only thing that sucks now, we have to run back through Demon Ruins, so it would have been amazing if we could have found those sooner, but it's amazing we found a stack of 7 all at once. I don't know if this is something with the logic of Randomizer, that Izalith just happens to have more humanity because it is the area where you offer it. Since like, I didn't really find a lot of it early anyways, and all the ones I've done, I don't recall finding a surplus of it without going really out of my way. It's not like it comes along really easily. You can find them in merchant shops, but it's like quantities of 1 for random prices, and then you might have it like maybe they have 3 individual listings at the most for humanity like we've seen before. But we don't see stacks of 7 just like right there. It's incredible. And now, even though we did technically Fire Sage, we don't have to run all the way through, do Centipede, and do the bigger area to get to Bit of Chaos. Which in time difference at this point, with the fact I do have to still backtrack a little bit from this point, it's like, it's probably the difference of, you know, factoring in whatever boss could be in Centipede being easier since it has a lower health pool. I would say still a good 3.5 minutes, maybe. I would guess, maybe 4 minutes. And in my mind right now, regardless of whatever's in the Beta Chaos Arena, it's sort of sinking in that the sub 2 hours, like the refund run time on the total timer is not going to be possible, but on the in-game timer, it's always going to be lower than whatever the total clock says because it's not counting loading screens and quitouts and other random stuff. So like basically I should be okay for close to 2 hours on the in-game time, but that heavily depends on what boss fight we get for Beta Chaos. And also obviously Gwyn's still pretty important too. But usually again with Gwyn at that point, I mean, we're already at the end. The area to run is very fast. Dying and running back super fast. I don't plan to die again. In terms of variety, if we're not getting a repeat too, there's not too many more things that could pop up that could be bad that fit in that arena. Unless we got like Calamite. Calamite would be the worst. I can see that being problematic. I'm trying to think of what else even. Sanctuary Guardian would be completely fine as a regular boss enemy and not the mini one that we already fought, because I think it could still be shuffled in. Big Ornstein would be fine. Quayleg would be fine. What else? I don't even really know what else there would be. Like, Priscilla would be fine. Priscilla would be easy, actually. Oh yeah, also Gaping Dragon, fine. Of course. Capra Demon, easy. So there's more easy than hard ones left on the list if we're doing a true one-to-one shuffle on this. But of course, again, we still have the DLC bosses that we didn't see, like the real Sanctuary Guardian, Manus, and Calamite. Ironically, the Titanite Demon just moved next door. Look at that. He was like, yeah, I don't really like this apartment anymore, so he got the one that was right beside. And he can still shoot lightning across the bridge. It's amazing that he can shoot it across the bridge even sooner than normal, which is bad. And there's a chained prisoner in the middle of it, which is even worse than anything that could be on this bridge. The mushroom would be better. Don't get hit by him. Just, yeah, thank God. Got very lucky that his wind-up wasn't the quick slappy attack with the flail that he's got. Oh boy. That was a moment where like my heart sank a little bit because I was like, we could easily just die in one hit right here, and then the run back sucks. And you can't warp to the Centipede bonfire, unfortunately, it's not on the list. So you would be stuck at Daughter of Chaos, or again, defaulted back to Demon Ruins as the last location anyways. And then we're running for minutes. So with full black hemp set on and our little cleric hood, we got Havel replacing the Pyromancer for Izalith. That's hilarious. At least we got to see Havel this time. Kirk invades again, but we just deny him completely and go into Beta Chaos. And here it is. Final boss before we go to Gwyn. What is it going to be? Put Blue Tear Stone on with Havel's Ring just to have that extra defense because it did come in handy in that ONS fight in the Pinwheel Arena. It was really cool. Oh, I see Manus. Uh-oh. So Manus, the only saving grace about this being a thing is I'm very good at Manus. That's it. That's literally it. There are some fights that like you might be like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at, but like this one I actually genuinely am just very good at to a level that's different than some of the other ones. There might not be many other fights in the game that I'm better at than Manus at all. Like even easy ones. that I'm not better at. I don't know what experience that it was that gained me the most ability on him, but once I like kind of de-rust on him, if I haven't played the game for a little bit again, it just feels so comfortable. There's no hesitation with thinking at all. There's no hiccups. There's no moments where I'm worried about anything at all. It's just like very like flow state. There's other things where even if I play pretty good, I still kind of get sketched out a bit sometimes. This arena sucks for him in the sense that if I run into a branch and there's magic, I will die. But otherwise, if I'm paying attention to what's behind me as we're rotating around them, we're not locking into the fight and staying four-way roll with the toggle and everything, we're good. Need to give him a lot of space when he's doing his juggle combo too. And then every time he recovers from that combo, he does a leap a lot of the time. It's almost every time, but he can do other things still. I don't know exactly what makes him do that. But what happens, though, is if he leaps out of that position, even if you do have some runway, you're too close to him because you were lingering from attacking, his kneecap will hit you and then he'll double hit you instead of just one big slam, like right there. Right here, I was testing a couple different things. I was trying to see what the extent was. If I pivot around him, will it cancel some of the combos that he does close range with the non-slinky swipes? And then even from there, too, with the staff hits, if I go on the left where the staff is more dominant, does it continue, or is there a point where it actually cuts off because I'm, like, really sharp on the angle? Lots of different weird things. He even does a funny back punish that I've only seen very, very few times. But he did go for it, though. We're hitting very low damage on this. I'm just going to let you guys enjoy what transpires after this. There's not much more to say other than when the magic does occur, checking your angles is huge. Shotgun magic blast, just try to be going to the left or the right ahead of time so you're right about to clear it when you start rolling. And with the inside-out magic, or sorry, I guess, sorry, the outside-in magic, it wasn't as common on this fight, so that was nice. But after that, always punish the growl that he does if he does do the scream. Manus of Chaos is a fitting name, but he had to go. That was probably about an 8-minute fight, roughly. That's ridiculous. The regular Manus fight only lasts, I would say, 3 minutes, 4 minutes if you have good damage by the time you get there. You're almost never going to roll up on them and be hitting slivers like that. So, still have to go through the branches to get the bonfire. Got 90,000 in the bank as well. Just going to pump endurance at this point. Because that's the only thing else that's relevant for trying to get our equip load up and still have pretty good defense for whatever is going to be the very final endeavor. And we are over 2 hours for the total time now. Yeah, it's whatever. Not a big deal. My goal wasn't necessarily less than 2 hours. I didn't have a target, even though we did hit that for the DS3 run. We did get a decent amount under 2 hours. I also misspoke. We still have to do 4 Kings, actually, so there is more to be done. We got to drain the seal and do 4 Kings. It wasn't the final Lord before Gwyn. Ooh, okay, so I think because I'm realizing that too, what I do is I go and use that 1 humanity to stack on top of the soft humanity we had on the counter. And we got 2, and we can kindle to 20 flasks if we want to at Firelink. That's typically a good idea, even if you're doing 4 Kings normally on a hard challenge. But again, with the way this randomizer does the logic of 4 Kings, you don't get 4 bosses. There was one before I played where you got 4 of them, and they could all be different. I think that might have been one of the hardest things in the entire playthrough, but again, that's not the most new version of enemy randomizer. That was the original. So popping out the soul. Popping soul of hero right here. And the other scraps that we got. See if we can maybe make another level before Gwyn as we get our victory. And the goal to get the seal drained truly is going to be to just speedrun to Ingward. It's going to be a bit different because I don't have a bow or projectiles to hit him with. I could have grabbed the black fire bombs from Andre and then just freeballed them. Might have worked, just using the character's head height and then trying to see if I could just like free aim it, but I'm not sure if you can get high enough without a crosshair. Can't remember. I've never really aimed to kill them like that on purpose. I think I might have just accidentally thrown them like that. But regardless of if it's possible or not enough projectiles for that. We're going to have to actually run to him, and then we have the option of not killing him too. We could let him live and just have him give us the key. It's always nice. He deserves to live sometimes too. Mini skeleton replacing a ghost to start off. They're kind of slow, so that's kind of nice. It gives us an easier access to this room that's super crowded. Crystal Golem's not going to catch up either with the time we got. Skeleton reaches and gets us off screen, but not a lot of damage. Got an explosive skull that almost gets me through the wall, but doesn't quite. There's the dog. I decide to stop and try to get it. Missing it with those overheads, but then the follow-up gets the skeleton as he falls down from the ceiling. Beautiful. Here is interesting too, because the ghosts that are normally through the floor aren't through the floor. They're on top of the bridge already, and we have a mimic. So he's a little bit tankier. 4 hits to kill. And I'm blocking from behind me in case that giant does get activated, so I just don't have to worry about getting poisoned from the club or anything. And now we're just running straight into the building where Ingward would be. I have no idea what's in there. We do put stone armor on and giant leggings just to be a little bit heavier, because why not? When we're going up the chimney, we're going to want poise, and we're also going to want a lot of defense because enemies can hit us at the bottom of the ladder. Met with a boar immediately, charging right into us. Amazing. Got a rat as well, and a giant from Manor Orlando. Good thing I'm wearing his pants. He might recognize me as a brethren, but we'll see on the way out, though. Didn't seem too hostile on the way in. What's going on, Ingward? Key to the seal and great soul arrow. I think I was going to check his inventory because you can purchase stuff too. Purging stones and elite night leggings. Of course, that's what you'd have. Basic ass NPC. Although the purging stones, again, they're not bad items. Just we don't plan on getting cursed on these runs. It's never nice. You try to avoid that. This is where we have another scenario that wastes some time. So, crowded ladder well here. And I'm backing into the wall to test to see if the boar is going to hit me as I'm against the wall. I was thinking of even de-aggroing him by climbing back up, Because at first I'm a little bit afraid of him just getting me every time. But he's not even attacking right now. So I go for a few more. He does get me. We trade. I'm thinking, okay, if I push too far out, the giant might be aggroed and sweep into the chimney as well with the halberd at the same time as he attacks. So we don't want to die in the corner here from both of them. Luckily, the Titanite catch pole's actually going through part of the roof and getting him. It's not rebounding fully. And we get the boar. Giant's just... I don't even know what he's doing, man. I think he's trying to remember exactly what his name is because he's just spacing out so hard in the corner there. He's got amnesia. Go around the corner over here. We have the ghost that usually tries to do a setup on us, but it's the giant golden golem, dude, blocking the pathway. There's no way we're going to be able to pass him without making a move. Kind of sucks. This is a moment where I'm like, okay, well, we could try this and see if it works. I try to back away down the lower stairs and then just pivot around him. Can go south really quickly if he turns on a weird angle and then his arm pushes us off, because as you saw, my boot was off the corner of the map. I was like one-legged on the corner there. And then he ends up falling, so that's funny. The key to the seal, we can drain it finally. And I'm just going to homeward back to Firelink anyways to get those flasks replenished to 20, depending on what actually shuffles for Four Kings. Could be something good, could be a nightmare, and the 20 is going to be pretty good as well. But I'd also argue that even running from that area right there to the actual fog gate still takes more time, considering I'm going to take some more fall damage, heal even more. We don't even know what's blocking the pathways where the Dark Wraiths are. There's so many of those. So not only a crowded situation could occur, but just geographically, the amount of steps we have to take, it's similar. It's not really a big difference. It's just that lift that we have to take in between right here that's going to waste a little bit of time where we're waiting. I'd rather have less enemies and more predictability anyways. So now with the light set up, running naked through New Londo ruins, never been a better time. Say hi to Pineapple Man. I call him Pineapple Man for reasons I can't really describe. He looks like a pineapple that went so bad in the fridge because you thought that the fridge would actually make it last longer, and it grew eyeballs. And then because you didn't eat it, it decides to eat you. Like, that's just the only way I can think of it. All right, so 2:10. Oh man, we're stretching the time frame a little bit. I know this might still be quicker than a lot of casual playthroughs in general, or even again someone trying to beat the game fairly fast normally. We did technically do a little bit of extra content too, just slightly, but I don't know if Beta Chaos qualifies enough because it is pretty quick in place of Fire Sage. Despite that though, not terrible, not terrible. Those 2 deaths in general, kind of nice, no boss deaths yet. I switched back to the regular roll setup so I could do that roll across the tower to one of the platforms on the far side. If you spam the roll button forward as you're going through the fog gate for Four Kings, you'll launch yourself across and land safely. You don't have to worry about getting hit by an enemy through the wall as you're going down. So, saves a little bit of health, saves safety on certain runs, and look at that. Icy Centipede Demon. He looks really cool in the dark, too. 4 Centipede Demons. Misleading title, dude. Clickbait. But that's some pretty good damage. Again, with Four Kings, they don't have incredible health, but Centipede Demon normally doesn't either. So with his defense factored in everything, scaling-wise, it's not bad. Titanite catch pole's putting in some work. We're really looking to make sure he doesn't stomp. That's it, because the stomp has a funny hitbox. It does knock you over on the ground, takes some time to recover, and then he can jump in the air and throw a fireball at the ground at the same time. He does one right there, but I walk away from the radius because I predicted it. And we're still waiting for a stomp on the outer side of the foot. Doesn't go for one, though. Goes for the sweep and misses me. It's a very clean centipede fight, very fast. Almost as like it never happened. Amazing for the end game. And I think I do remember to swap Silver Serpent. Let me see. Or do I not even care at this point? No, I don't even care. He gave us Ring of Steel Protection, too. We should have honestly gone for that first, but again, there hasn't been something that's that much of a threat in a while. Like, Manus didn't beat me up that much. It would have probably been him that we'd want that for, over even having Blue Tearstone. Not bad. I think I'm just gunning to get into Gwyn, not even gonna level, we're just gonna run. So take off that Covenant of Artorias ring, switch it back for Chloranthy so we can get the fast stamina regen while we're running, which we should have been using for every single running section just as the main go-to. For the first one, this is not bad at all. I would say no boss deaths so far is great. The ones we did take, even if I was playing better, it would be hard to avoid those two in particular. Except for I think the equip load, mushroom-wise, might have been the ticket, so even if I didn't be super careful and mindful of it, I could have still spaced it. Ulysseal Sorcerer almost taking my head off right there, wow. What a great enemy for the kiln. Hollow Soldier wants the smoke as well. Any predictions at this point that you guys have for Gwyn, I want you to comment. If you're watching right now and you watched the entire video, for people that didn't watch the entire video, if you skipped it, it doesn't count. I don't care about that. Like, I really do care that you're watching it, don't get me wrong, but I want to know if you actually sat and watched the whole thing up to this point. You literally paid attention. For some reason, maybe you listened to it and you're like mentally paying attention. Make a prediction if you were here since the very first minute of what you think this is. I do peek in there a little bit. I see a little bit of orange, that's it. And I'm making my own prediction, but I'm not going to say anything. Surprise, surprise. That's actually a pretty cool boss for the last one. Not going to lie. And also, the fact of the matter is we have a pretty high hitting weapon. So you know what that means? Body stagger and extra damage too. Now, I don't know if it's because of the actual shape of the end of the catch pole or the total length of the hitbox, but some of these body staggers were a little bit tricky. I do try to solely go for those when I can though, and it made the fight a little bit more interesting. Might have not been as fast in total, but still makes up for some time because it does a little bit more damage. And I mix in a little bit of leg hits right here too. Missed that one. Some of these swings she does too that sweep across, if you're right in front of the spider head, they don't actually hit you. So, boom, body hit. There's a really juicy section here. Body hit. Missed it. Go for another one. Come on, you can do it. I believe. Oh! Boom, headshot. Boom, headshot. One more. Okay, that one didn't count, but boom, headshot. FPS Doug coming back. Boom, hand shot. Boom, chest shot. Boom, hand shot. I don't even know what that one was. Sternum? Okay, we're getting her in the chin now. Look at all the health, dude. See how much faster that is? Boom, another one, belly button. Good old 1-2. In the armpit. Oh, but she got me in the armpit. Spicy pits. Oh, and then the leg literally denies. You see that? I was gonna land the other one. Miyazaki, like, he remote accessed the front spider leg. Tried to reposition me. It's sad, but hey, you know what? Amazing fight just because we got a combo like that, and I'm getting so greedy. Look at the health. Almost dead on my own part. All right, we're right by the door. I don't want to get killed through the fog gate by the enemies though, so I swing at the last second, and then I'm just like rebounding right here, and yeah. Fun times. Run out of the kiln, quit out right away. 2:15 on the total clock. What do we have on in-game time? 2 hours, 8 minutes, 13 seconds for rando speed. So that was a enemy and item randomizer speedrun attempt for my first completed one on Dark Souls 1. I have done longer runs for randomizers before, as you guys may be familiar with, and this was a really fun way to play it. I highly recommend you guys try this. The settings were all the basic settings that you have when you turn it on, other than key items were not shuffled, just to make it a little bit more linear in that way. I think it's more fun to do it that way for speedruns. If you have any suggestions, let me know. If you want to see some more runs on other games like this, let me know which ones you want to see it on, and any other little conditions that might be interesting. I am going to come back to this game. I'm going to try to get a better time, and I am going to immediately try to upgrade the settings as I go, as I get better, and do all content at the same time as well. So there will be runs in the future that feature those. If you like videos that are like this and other types of challenges, mini documentaries, whatever it is, Make sure that you are subscribed, but also make sure you're notified so that you actually get the notifications for videos when they come out. Most people watching are not subscribed, so be the person that is, and you'll never have to worry about if I uploaded something again or not. Even if you don't watch it right away, you'll just have something on a rainy day. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care.